Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar this afternoon. My name is Scott. I'm one of the trainers for the products here at EduSpot and Community Brands. So I do sort of like the setups and the trainings on this system. And today, the system we're going to be looking at is the Teachers2Parents Parents Evening System. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a tour of the system, show you how it works and how to set up an event, and also go through some of the common queries that we're getting this year in light of the events of this year, let's say. So what we'll do is we'll take you on a tour, and if you have any questions during the webinar, you will have the ability to type questions and send them to us. What we're going to do is we will go through the webinar first, and then at the end I'll do like a little Q&A where if you've got questions that you've asked, I'll go back to those and answer those if they need answering, and obviously take more questions if needed as well. Okay, so let's get started. So when you very first sign into the Parents Evening system, this is the sort of screen that you'll come to. So it's split into kind of two sections, if you will. So when you look in the top right corner of Parents Evening, you'll see that we've got this home section of Parents Evening, and we've got the admin section as well. Now in the home section, you'll be presented with tabs going across the top for Parents Evening, Send Invites, View Schedule, and so on. And these tabs are where you can create and manage your events from. What we're going to do first is we're going to take a little look in the admin section of the system, just to show you some of the things to look out for when you are preparing the system in order to create an event. So when we go into admin, the first tab that shows up is the Students tab, and this is where you'll be able to see the students that the system currently holds for your school. Now, common things to watch out for in here is that we do have mostly like priority 1 parents, the main contact for each child in here, but we also have sometimes second priority parents as well, such as this one here. The most important thing is that you have at least a phone number or an email address for each parent, because that's how our system is going to rely on communicating with them. So you can at any point go into a student's details to take a look at what information we contain for them. You can manually edit the information as well. Depending on what management system you use at school will depend on how data gets pulled into this system, but you can always have a look at the details that we have imported from this tab. So the next tab we've got is our staff tab. Now this is where you can add in the staff members that are going to be having appointments with parents. Okay. When it comes to adding the staff members in, it is very, very simple to do so. All that you have to do is down in the bottom right, there is an add button. So you would click on add, and then you just simply have to fill in the fields for the staff member. Now, one thing that we do get asked a lot here is what information parents will see when you're filling this in. So I'll take this opportunity to just say that when parents are booking in to see a teacher, the only things that they will see from what you fill in this form is the title and the last name. They don't see anything else. But all you do is you pop in the details of the teacher. Email address, it's a work email address that's preferred, because this is used for emailing out schedules of appointments to the teachers when the Parents' Evening is ready. And then what you do is you can set the form tutored, so which class they teach from here, and then you would save the teacher into the system. One common thing that our support team tend to get is where you will have a class that has a job share. So you'll have 2 teachers responsible for the same class. If the parents are just booking in one appointment for that class, and then both teachers will be present at the Parents' Evening, or if one teacher's doing one day and one's doing another. But the key thing to remember is if they are doing one appointment for that class, then what we actually do is we sort of trick our system into thinking that 2 teachers are 1 teacher. And the way that we do it is you would find the staff member in question. So if we go for, we'll just go for Ian at the top here. And what we do is we simply merge the names. So as I mentioned earlier, when parents book in, they see the title followed by the last name. So all that you would do here is you would do sort of like a space / space, and then type the title and last name of the teacher that they share with. Because that way, whenever a parent is booking in an appointment for this class, they will see the teacher name as Mr. Acho / Mr. Smith. Okay, and that way they're booking one appointment, but they will be able to see both the teachers there. So that's really all of the checks that you would need to do in the system prior to being able to create a parents' evening. So once you're ready to create a parents' evening, you go back to the home section. And on this first tab of parents' evening, this is where you will see any events that you've currently got ongoing, and also where you can add a new event in. So to add a new event in, you would simply click on the add button in the bottom right hand corner to add a new parents' evening in. What we'll do is we'll take a look at one that I created earlier, which is this one here for November. So here, you've got a form to fill in for all of the details of the event. So at the top, you'll see the event name. Now this name does have to be a unique name for every parents' evening that you have. You won't be able to create a parents' evening that's got the same name as one that's been in the past. So usually what I would advise to do would be to call it something along the lines of parents' evening, and then the month and year that you've got it going on in. Underneath that, you will see the dates of which we've got it on. So we've got 2 days for this parents' evening at the moment, and all that you do is you fill in the details, so change the date to whatever date it needs to be on, and then you've got the start time and also the end time. Now the start time will be the time of the first appointment available during that day for any of the teachers, okay? And then the end time will be when the last appointment of the day finishes. Just to the right of this, you'll see where it says parent session length. So this is how long in minutes that the teachers will be speaking to each parent for. And then underneath that is the gaps between sessions. And this is only used if you need to have a gap between each of those parent session lengths. So this is quite a common thing in larger schools where the parents need to actually have some travel time between appointments to walk from room to room. So with this parent session length being 10 minutes and there being no gaps in between, it means that the appointments will roll on back to back. Okay. It also means, just to clarify on what I mentioned about the end time earlier on, the last appointment bookable for this day will be at 5:50 because the end time is when the last appointment finishes. If you want to add another day into the event, you can do, and you just simply do that by clicking on the green plus button next to either of the days, and it will copy the details over to the next date in the calendar. Obviously, you can change those details, so if you need to change the date or if you needed to change the start times and end times on one of those days, then obviously you can do so. And if you want to remove a day, you simply click on the red cross to remove that day again. So the next section below is this one here for invites. Now, to give you an outline on how this system works, basically the way that we get parents to book an appointment for parents' evening is we send them an invitation to do so. Inside that invitation, there will be a link, and that link is unique to every single parent. So all that they have to do is click on that link, and it will take them to their own webpage where they book their appointments for parents' evening for their children. So those invitations, they can either be sent out by text message, or they can be sent out by email, or by both methods, which is what these two tick boxes are here. You'll also notice that the system is capable of sending automatic reminder emails both a week and a day in advance. Now these are quite handy to have in the system because these will go out to every parent that booked an appointment, and it will remind them of what appointment they booked. So it's quite a handy feature to have in there because it just sort of stops parents calling the school to remind them of what time they'd already booked. We've then got the invite message. So this is what the invitation will look like when the parents are going to receive it. So there will be a list of templated options in this drop down, and if we click on the view button just to the right of it, you'll get a preview as to what the invitation will look like when the parents receive it. So as you can see, the text invitation, it simply says parents' evening booking, click to book, and then the link is there. And then underneath you've also got the email one, which looks pretty much the same as well. So next section below, we've got is invite parents. So this is where you are deciding who it is that's attending the parents' evening at school. So we've got the drop down for students in, and when you go into that drop down, you will see a list of any classes you've got in the system and also any groups that you've got set up as well. Now, if it was all of the classes that were attending, like this one that we've created, then you can simply tick the box that says all forms. Next section below, staff locations. So this is where the parents' evening is going to take place when it occurs. Now, up until the events of this year, typically parents' evenings would have been held either in the main hall or in the classroom. So there were locations built into the system for classroom and hall. These locations, they do appear on the reminders when they go out to the parents. And with a lot of our customers this year doing their parents' evening either as an online meeting or as a telephone call, we've started adding in some extra locations for you so that these appear on the reminders, so as not to confuse the parents, basically. If you are creating a parents' evening and you notice that you don't have those locations in there, or if you want any adding, then let our support team know. We can add them in for you. Next section below, additional comfort breaks. Now this is a really useful tool for tailoring the times to suit teachers individually. So going back to our start time and end times at the top of the page here, we've got general start times and end times for each day. But you might have teachers that are doing different times on those days. And you also might have some teachers that are only doing one of the 2 days that we've got set up. So using this section here is where you can then tailor those times to suit each teacher. So what you do is we tick add more breaks and we get this pop up here. Now at the top there are 2 drop downs. There's one for a staff member. So the following break that you're about to set can be set for all staff at the same time or staff members individually. Then you've got the date. So which one of the 2 days that you want the break to be on. And then underneath you'll see a list of all of the time slots currently available for that day. So all that you need to do here is simply tick the slots that you want to block off from the parents. So let's give you a couple of examples. So I'm going to use the teacher Ian at the top here. So let's say Ian on the Monday, actually Ian can only do up until 5:30. Can't do the parents' evening until 6 o'clock. So what you would then do is you would select the teacher, choose the date, and then you would simply block off the last few slots and then save that into the system. Another scenario, if we go to add another break into the system, is you might have a staff member that can't do one of the days. So what you would then do is you would find the staff member from the list. So if we go for Matilda here, and Matilda is only going to be doing parents' evening on the Monday, not on the Tuesday. So what you do is you select the Tuesday, you'll see the time slots available for the Tuesday at the moment. Now what you can do here is simply block off the whole day by using the select all option to tick all the boxes. And then when we save this break into the system, it will simply mean that Matilda will only be able to be booked on the Monday. So a combination of your start time and end times and the additional comfort breaks really allows you to tailor your parents' evening to suit individual teachers' times that they want or need to do. Going to the bottom of the page, there is a miscellaneous section at the bottom. There are 2 features in here. The first one says close this parents' evening. Now what this does is it closes the booking system on the parents' end so that they can't make any appointments or change any appointments. So this is something that we usually advise you do whenever it is that you want to send out the final draft of schedules out to your teachers with the times on. Obviously, once you've sent those teachers the times that they have for the parents' evening, you don't really want parents to be chopping and changing times around because that will confuse the teachers. So it's advisable whenever you want to send your final draft of schedules to simply come in here, tick the box and save the event. Now, as I say, this does block it off on the parents' end, but you can still manage the bookings yourselves if a parent did need to change it last minute. And I'm going to cover how you can do that in a few moments' time. Finally, we have a little tick box at the bottom for allow parents to provide comments whilst booking. If this tick box is enabled, whenever a parent chooses a time within the system, they will also be able to leave a comment for the teacher, which will appear on the teacher's schedule where the appointment is. So it's quite useful for parents to leave any issues they might want to raise on the appointment to just give teachers a bit of a heads up as to what's coming their way. If you do remove that tick box though, all the parents will be able to do is simply choose a time and that's it. So once you've got everything customized on this page, all that you do is you simply click on Save or Save and Close. If you do save and close, it will take you back to the start page here, but you'll see that the event has been created. Now, although that event has been created, it isn't live yet. It doesn't really go live until you've sent invites out to the parents. Before you do this though, we do stress that you must check your event to make sure the details are correct. Once the first booking gets made within the system, a lot of the information that you put into the parents' evening just a moment ago, it does become greyed out and you can't change it. So before you send invites out, we do encourage you to go back into your event and just double check the details. But when you are ready, all that we do is we go to the next tab across the top here, send invites. And in here, you'll see a list of all of the children that are included in the event. So when you want to send the invites out to the whole school, we do have the select all option at the top of the list again. It ticks all the boxes next to the children. And then all you do, in the bottom left, you will see the orange button there that says send invites to the parents. Sends out those invitations so that they can all start booking in, and the event will then be considered live. From this tab as well, if you ever needed to, you can book parents in from here yourselves. So if you ever had a parent call up over the phone, or if they came into school to say they had difficulty for any reason in particular, then you can actually book them in from here as well. So what we're going to do is we will choose a child and book them in. So we will go for Gary here. So if Gary's parent came in or called up to say they wanted to book an appointment through you in the office, all you do is you click on their name to highlight the row. Down in the bottom right, you will see a manually book option. So this opens up a new window. Now it's worth mentioning at this point that from this point onwards in the system, this is what parents will see when they do this at home. So when they get their invitation and they click on the link inside, it will bring them here. So we are now looking at the parent's end of the system. So as you can see, the only information we require from the parent to get into the system is that they type in their child's first name. Okay, so all that we do here is we simply type in Gary, we click confirm, and then it brings you into the booking system for that parent. So you'll see Gary there with the teacher and the class that they teach, and then you'll see a yellow box that says please choose. So all that the parent has to do, or in this case yourselves if you are doing this for them, is you click on please choose. You'll be presented with a list of times for the 2 days that you've got going on. Now, if you'd used your additional comfort breaks earlier on to block off certain times for this teacher, then those times, instead of saying book next to them, they will be grayed out and say unavailable. Likewise, if another parent had already booked this slot, it will also come up as unavailable as well. So what you do is you look for an available appointment that the parent wants, you click on book, and then it's at this stage where the parent, if they were doing this at home, they can leave a note for the teacher to see. So they can type in this box any issues that they want to bring up on the parent's evening. This will appear on the teacher's schedule and give them a heads up. So all that you would do then is you simply book the slot, and there we are. It says booked with the time there. One thing that we do get asked quite a lot is can parents go back and change their time? The simplest answer to that is yes, they can. Up until the point where you close a parent's evening, then if they want to change the time, it has to be done through you via the manually booking process. But all that the parent would have to do is re-access the link in the invitation and bring themselves back to this page here. They will see where the time says booked. So if we click on that green button that says booked, brings up the list of times again. All that they have to do is click where it says booked next to the appointment, and the system will ask them if they wish to unbook the slot. So you say yes, it goes back to yellow saying please choose. And then all they have to do is just rinse and repeat for a different time and book it in. And that's the parent side of the system. So as you can probably tell just by looking at that, this is very, very simple to use for the parents. And also if you have to book a parent in on their behalf, it's also an easy process for you to do as well. So all that you do to leave this side of the system is you simply close the window, cross it off in the top corner. So one thing that you might notice now is back on this send invites list, we now have a green yes next to that child. So this tab will also give you a little bit of feedback as to which parents are booked in and which ones are not. Likewise, you've got a % booked at the top here for everybody in the event. So once all of the bookings have been made, it'll then be down to you to get the appointment times out to the teachers. So this is done on the next tab here, View Schedule. Now on the View Schedule tab, you can only look at one day at a time, and that is done by simply changing the drop down in the top left to the correct date. So if we switch to our Monday, you'll see the appointment that we made earlier on. You can filter the list of schedules down, so you can filter by teacher, or you can filter by form or student as well. When it comes to getting these schedules out to the teachers, what I usually advise to do, if you're wanting to get them out to all of the teachers at the same time, leave these drop downs at the top set to all. Because then in the bottom left, you've got a few options. The print option, when we click on that, it will ask you if you want to do a print type of a separate schedule or if you want to do a combined schedule. What a separate schedule means is that it will print off that day's list of appointments in teacher order. So it will print off all of Mr. Gator's appointments first for that Monday, then it will move on to Mr. Acho's appointments. If you do a combined schedule, then what it will do is it will print off all of the times in time order, regardless of the teacher. So it will print off all of the 3:30 appointments for every teacher, then the 3:40s, and so on. An alternative and sometimes easier and more efficient way of getting the schedules out to the teachers is by emailing them out as well. This email schedule option down here is quite handy because if you leave the drop-down filters at the top set to all, then email schedule, what it will do is it will send an email to each teacher with just their own list of times on it for that day. So it is teacher specific. It's quite a clever little option there, because then all you have to do is switch the day over to the next day that you have and just do the email schedule option again. So once those times are being sent out to the teachers, really in terms of organising your event, that's all the involvement that you have. It's down to them to conduct the event after that point. So those first three tabs that we've just took a look at in the home section, they're the main three you're going to use. So the Parents Evening tab to create the event with the availability and the times, the Send Invites tab to invite parents and get them booked in, and then the View Schedule tab to get the times out to the teachers. We've got some more tabs going across the top in the home section, so I'm going to give you a bit of an idea as to what they do. The next one we have is missing contact details. This will show you anyone in your event that is missing either a phone number or an email address. Now, as I mentioned earlier on towards the start of our webinar here, the most important thing is that we have at least a phone number or an email address for every parent, just so that we have a way of contacting them. So if you see anybody in this list that doesn't have any of those details, then it's time to take a look and see why those details aren't in the system. The next tab we have is parents who have not booked. This will simply show you anybody in your event that hasn't booked their appointment yet. So if we were to send out invites and then come back a few days later and you still have a handful of parents in here, all that you have to do is in the bottom left, you hit the resend invites button and it will send those invitations again, but only to the parents that haven't booked in. So it just acts as like a little push reminder for them to actually book their appointment. And you can do this as many times as you want to leading up to your event as well. The next tab we have is View Attendance. This will show you a list of all of the parents that booked an appointment. You will notice there is a tick box next to each parent which you can tick to say that they did attend their appointment as well. The main idea of this tab is that we had a lot of requests from our customers to say that they wanted a report that they could basically compose to show to the likes of head teachers and governors how well the Parents' Evening was going. So you will notice as well that the Select All option is back again. Now, if you're a school of a few hundred children, the last thing you want to be doing is ticking individual boxes. So you will be expecting a majority turnout for your Parents' Evening as well. So what we'd advise you do there is you simply do the Select All option and then just untick any no-shows from the Parents' Evening to then get your percent attended. You can then save that report into the system, or in the bottom left, you can print the report off or export it as an Excel spreadsheet. So the next tab we have is invitation templates. So when the invitation goes out to the parents, the default template will say simply Parents' Evening booking, click to book, and then it will have the link in there. However, you can create your own templated invite messages that go out. All that you do to add a template in is down in the bottom right, you click on Add, and then you can customize the message that goes out in the invitation. So the invite name is just purely for your reference, and then you can type in the message that you want to go out in the text and email invitation. Just bear in mind with the text one, there is a character limit, and the text message, most of it is taken up by the unique link for each parent. So it's just designed for something short and sweet to accompany the link, so if you want to edit it, you can. Before you save the template, you will have to preview it. So when you click on preview, again, you will see an example of the template. and then you would simply save the template into the system. We also have this option in the top left to send from. This is who the invitation is going to come from when the parents receive it. Now, a lot of people that use this system will also subscribe to our Teachers2Parents text messaging system. If you do, what I actually advise you do is you look in your Teachers2Parents system to see what name the text messages come from when you send them out to parents, because then you can use that same name in the parents' evening system so that when they receive their invitation, it's going to come from the same sender. And that way there'll be a nice little bit of familiarity for the parents so that they know who sent it to them. So the next tab we have is Split Parents. Now, by standard, our system will send invitations out to the priority 1 contact, the main contact, for each of your children in school. And that's going to be absolutely fine for most of the people, unless you have any families where the parents are separated and they require a separate appointment for the same child. If that is the case, we do offer a solution for it. In this tab, you will see any other priority parent that will have parental responsibility for a child. And this is regarding the data import that we do from your management system. We can import those as well. So all that you would do then is you would find the children in question. So we've actually got 2 siblings here, so Jane and Lucy Austin. And as you can see, we've got the parent there, Tony Austin, who is the priority 2. So that tells me that the mother is the priority 1, who is currently getting the invitation able to book. But what you do is you tick the boxes next to each of the children that the father is responsible for, and then you save in the bottom right-hand corner. What this will do is it will add that parent into the send invites list. So just to show you that, when we go back to send invites here, at the top of the list, you will see that Jane and Lucy are in the list twice. And that is simply because you have one invitation going to Dad and the other one going to Mum. So this way, the parents will be able to book separate appointments for the same child without having to attend the parents' evening together. Now, the last tab that we have in the home section is the Create and Edit Groups tab. So this is used in case you have any other members of staff within the school that you would like to have appointments with parents on the day. A common example in a lot of the primary schools that use our system would be for the SEN coordinator. So what you can do is you can add the SEN coordinator into your staff list within the admin section. And then from here, you can create a group for them. So what you do is you go to Add in the bottom right. You would give the group a name, which the parents will see when they book in. You would select the staff member from the list and then simply tick the students whose parents this staff member wants to see. And then you would save the group. Then, when you create a parents' evening, you will have the invite parents part. So in invite parents, you'll go into the list there and you will see that you've got all forms and then a list of groups at the bottom, and you would simply tick the groups that you want to include in a parents' evening. Now, one thing that I do strongly advise is that you do create any groups that you want to include in a parents' evening. You must include them in that parents' evening before you send invites out. Once you've sent the invites out, you can't choose then any extra classes that you want to invite into the parents' evening. It won't work that way. But providing you do that, then all it means is that for those parents that have a child in that group, when they go online to book an appointment for the child, they will see 2 of the please choose options. There'll be one for the teacher, and then there will be one for the SEN coordinator, for example. Okay. And that, guys, is everything that we need to take a look at for today. So what we'll do is I will sort of stay online for another minute or 2 just to see if there's been any questions that have been asked. If you do have any questions regarding the system, you can contact our support team via the normal methods. You will be able to find their contact details in the help section, which is just in the top right here. You've got the telephone number and the email address for our support team just there. So you can always send a message to them if you do have any other questions as well. Okay, guys, it doesn't look like there's been any questions asked, so we'll wrap things up there for today. So thank you very much for your time taken to listen to me today. I appreciate that. Like I say, if you do have any questions, please follow up with our support team, and we hope to see you again on one of our future webinars. Thanks very much, everybody.